שמענו במושבים הקודמים על מדיניות עדכנית, העצמת הטבע בעיר, חיזוק הקהילה המקומית וכלכלה מקיימת. המושב האחרון ישלים היבטים שנוגעים לאיכות החיים בעיר. מחד, ברור לנו הצורך לצופף, ומאידך נדרש טיפול במרחב שלנו, שידע להכיל את האינטנסיביות העירונית. היער העירוני, ניהול מי נגר והליכתיות הם מקצת מהרבדים שיוצבו במושב המסכם של הכנס. על מנת להזמין את הדובר הראשון שלנו, אבל רגע אין לי קשר עין איתו, אז אני מחכה לראות שהוא כאן לפני שאני מציגה אותו. שנייה אחת. Okay, fantastic. Okay, this is the second time we have the privilege to enrich our knowledge from the tree expert, Mr. Werner Hendriks. The last time we hosted him in our yearly conference, a few years ago, we heard about the different planting system, which were mostly new to us then. We came a long way since, and heard this morning about the progress that was made in Israel regarding the trees policies, the budgets that are funneled to promote urban planting, and the new trees center. But when we finally focus on implementation, a lot remains unsolved, such as using a sustainable and suitable planting system for the site, or even how to combine stormwater management together with planting into integrated concepts. It is my pleasure and privilege to invite Mr. Werner Hendriks for his lecture, The Benefits of Combining Trees and Stormwater Management. Werner.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending at this late moment, but you won't be disappointed. This is a more happier presentation than the last one I did here, because now I'm going to show you how you can save money. The last time I was here, I was only saying invest more money, but now I'll show you how you can win and earn money back. First of all, for the people who don't know me, I'm Werner Hendriks from the Netherlands, and I was a former landscape architect, but I was ashamed of our profession. We made beautiful drawings with really big trees, and after 10 years, those trees were not growing, nothing, dying off. So I was ashamed of our profession, so we should, as landscape architects, and I think there are lots of landscape architects here, we should be the one who are responsible that the contractor is doing a good job, and planting big trees means you need lots of soils underneath the tree. So I studied back, I went back to the university and studied tree engineering, green engineering, only underneath the soil. So I'm not an expert in trees, I'm an expert in soil conditions. So these are some of the products that in the meantime I developed. So urban granulate structural soil, like Luxury Lane is a floating bicycle lane, because in Holland we have lots of bicycle lanes. We have soil cell systems. We have several soil cell systems also here in the exhibition. So take a look at that. But I'm also, for the key walls, in Amsterdam, we are growing spontaneous plants on newly made walls. And it's exactly the same as we do for trees. It's all about how can we grow roots everywhere. So also on new walls we can grow plants. So my profession is much more than only trees. We go to, let me see, okay, this is the presentation. We already had some issues about climate change, and we know climate change is coming, so I'll go through the next steps quite fast, because the time is limited, I heard. All the climate changes are gathering in the city. Everything is coming to the city. So this picture, typical Amsterdam Dutch picture, the canals, the walls, the bicycles, and this crazy guy with the water hose. He's not making fun with the tourist, he's just watering the bridge. Why? because the bridge is expanding and it cannot open anymore. We are watering bridges instead of trees in Holland. How crazy is that? Also floating, of course, we go back through this, soil shrinkage. You have maybe this problem not, but in our country, the sea level is rising and the shore is sinking, so within several decades, we have a much bigger problem. So climate change is really affecting everybody of us, not only us in Holland, but also you everywhere. And what I'll show you in the red, of course, this is the similar. These are the things that is about climate change and about trees. So we have to look at how can we incorporate better solutions for the cities. And of course, my field of work is normally Europe. But the things that happen in Europe, the physics of tree planting, stormwater management, are exactly the same in Israel as in Holland. Only the conditions are a little bit different. So I want to tell you about the next generation of solution. The last time I was here, I was talking about tree planting solutions, only one function. But now we need to go further, one step ahead. So last time I spoke with grey concrete, we should have more trees. And in Israel, it's probably even better that we have more trees because we need more shade. But all the design is made because we need cars in the city. In Holland, we call them the king of the city, the car. But the king of the city should be us, people. Drainage. Holland, we are really, really good in draining water away, directly to the sea. And because of that, we have now major problems. So we have to find a way to let the water infiltrate inside the city. And that's probably exactly the same that you have. So from this side, we need to go to the other side. The solutions we made yesterday are not working today. And we need some change. And I think landscape architects can make that change. I'll go through now some of the stormwater management practices that we use today, and also the tree planting solutions that we do today. So some of that is similar to 6 years ago. I believe it's 6 years ago, last time I was here. So will be similar, but after that, I will show you some new products that are now on the market, new solutions that we need to implement. The rain gardens or swales, I saw it already in some presentations here. It's a depression in the area where you can capture water. But of course, this is very nice if you have a new surrounding, new village that you're building. But in the old city, there is no place for such a big open area. So we need some other stuff. So we have the infiltration crates, the second picture. It's just plastic or concrete or steel structures underneath where you can store water directly. But it's only one function, storing water. We have gravel, just rocks that have similar sizes, so there are lots of pores between the rocks, so you can store water. It's a cheaper way, but of course in the crates you can have about 95% of water, and in the rock you can only have 30% of water. So you need much more room, and again, in an old city you don't have so much room. There are utilities everywhere, so we need to work around. All those solutions have one problem. If we let runoff water get in, with the runoff water, pollution is floating with it. So leaves, oil leaks, everything, salt, everything is flushing with the water into those systems and directly in our environment. So there are solutions for that. We have some catch basin to filter out the hard sand materials, the leaves. We have some big sand filters to also have the fine particles to get out, or carbon filters to have the oil filtered out of the water, so it won't get any more inside our groundwater reservoir. And these are some of the things I want to talk about. And we do the same for tree planting solution. Stormwater management, there is instantly measurable. So we can measure how much cubic meter of crates are in. So we know how much water we can store directly after one rain event. There is policy available for stormwater management and also much experience. These crates are already on the market for 20 years or longer. And so we have lots of experience, research on that. And we know that also the obligations, there are laws about how much water we should store when we make a new village. Every square meter we need to, in Holland we calculate with 100 millimeters for every rain event. So there's lots of water we need to store. So the budgets are available, and this is a really good thing. Budgets are there for stormwater management. The maintenance cost, that's the second thing. That's not an advantage, it's a disadvantage. Because with stormwater management, you need some maintenance. Because, can we go back? Yes. These filters should be cleaned after a while. And this is costing us money. If we don't clean, we cannot store so much water anymore. So this is costing us money. Oh, that's too far. Oh. And the non-visibility of maintenance, because everything is underneath the soil, underneath the pavement. Nobody can see if the contractor maintained the crates. Did he clean up? Nobody knows. And contractors, you know about contractors, it's hard to supervise them, make them aware what they should do. And of course, we always need anti-pollution filters. So it's not only stormwater management, we also need the sand filter, the oil filters, whatever, to prevent pollution entering our groundwater level. Now we go to the tree solutions. And now this is, of course, in my field of work. Let's start with this one, structural soil. Now, after 6 years, I see already several products already been implemented in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, all around Israel. Structural soil, for the ones who don't know what structural soil is, it's similar to the rock for stormwater management. Rocks of the same size, but now in between those pores, there is some soil. And in this soil, the roots can grow. So structural soil is nothing more than a foundation for the road where roots can penetrate. But remember, and you see it on the soil efficiency, 80%, so if you install 10 cubic meters, only 2 cubic meters of soil available for the tree. 80% is just rock. It's not doing nothing for this tree. Now we have raft systems, sandwich constructions. They are made because in Holland we have sandy structural soil. And sandy structural soil is not equipped to have truckloads. So the raft systems are like big snow boots underneath the wheels of the truck. So the pressure on top of the soil is not that much. And the air layer, they are open crates, so air can come in, so there's more biology inside the soil. And that is, of course, better for the trees. And then the last is the soil cells. These are like the stormwater crates, but now filled up with soil. And actually, the first soil cell systems were indeed infiltration crates, filled up with soil. Now the soil cells are now made out of other materials, the bigger openings, so roots can penetrate much easier, but in fact, they work exactly the same as stormwater management systems. like the plastic crates. Water is coming in, there's a pointer, yeah, and there's an air layer on top. And that brings us to this column. If a root is growing in this soil is uncompacted. So if this tree is growing, the roots are going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. And the roots can grow here bigger, the soil is going up in this air layer, preventing the pavement for going up. In structural soil, mostly it's a Stockholm method, it's about 15 centimeters of rock. CU soil has about 60 millimeters of rock. So you can imagine the openings between those rocks is only about 5 centimeters maximum. So if those roots are going to be bigger than 5 centimeters, they are pushing up the rocks again. And we will have some pavement lifting. This will not occur within 5 years or 10 years. Mostly this will happen in 15, 20 years. Then the pavement will be lifted up again. So structural soil is a good product for trees, smaller trees, which don't have such big root system. With the raft systems on top of structural soil, then not only one brick is lifted up, but because the crates are connected with each other, the pavement is lifted up in a very big surface area. So you won't trip over the pavement anymore. So these are the 3 systems. And again, this is similar to the rock where you store water. These are similar to the crates on top, shallow watering. And these are exactly the same as infiltration crates. And of course, when we have trees in Holland, of course, you think, okay, in Holland, we get rain every 2 weeks. We don't have to water it. Of course, we don't have irrigation systems for every tree. But we need water bags to water the trees in the first 2 or 3 years. So they grow and get the roots out, and then they can survive. And we have different systems. And here in Israel, we use, of course, more like dripping systems or bubblers. And below, this is a system that we now use in Holland more and more. So rainwater is captured and just flushes into the root system. So we don't water the tree, the rain is watering the tree, because when the tree is covered with pavement, somehow the water should come in. And in this way, water can come to the trees. And we can have systems like soil cells, structural soil, sandwich construction, but it's all about the soil. The soil is the most important thing to grow trees. And in one of the lectures before, soil is one of the biggest stormwater management systems that we have. We can store lots of water inside soil. And with a tree planting system, we have soil inside, so we can also store water inside. But compacted soil is compacted, so the openings are pushed out by compression. And in uncompacted soil, there's much more air and water volume, so we can store more water. So it's very important that if we plant trees, the soil should be uncompacted, because then we can store more water, grow better trees. And not only the compaction rate is important for stormwater management with trees, also the clay content and the sand content. Because you see here, inside sand, you can have stored water about 30% in sandy soil. In clay soil, you can store mostly about 50, 60% of water. But against that, in sandy soil, you have much more infiltration rate. And with clay, water will not infiltrate, so it takes much longer before infiltrating. So I think, and that's what I'm always promoting, for trees where there's no irrigation system, let's go for loamy soil. But if you want to have, like in Israel, if you want to have much more water inside and fast drainage, you can calculate maybe then sandy soil or sandy loam soil is much better for you. So there is no good or bad in sandy soil or loamy soil. It's a choice. A choice for watering the tree, capturing water, or growing big trees. These are the same things as we did before for the stormwater management, so instantly measurable. We can measure how much soil we have. If it's sandy soil, we know there's 30% of water inside, so we can calculate how much water can go inside. So that's no problem. There is policy. Also, I hear about more policy about tree planting systems in cities, so that's good. And there's much research done everywhere in the world how trees grow and which systems and how big they will grow. But there's one thing that we forgot, and there's no obligations. There is no law that if you plant a tree, you should provide at least 15 square meters of soil for this tree. Why? If we make a new project, there is an obligation that we should have so much soil volume or water volume for stormwater management. And this tree has no obligations. Yes, we have policy, but policies we don't need. We need regulations, laws on how we should plant trees. So when there are laws, there is also money. If there's no law, nobody will spend money on it. So these are two major issues. And you see, those are both the cons in urban tree planting systems. There is no money for it. Of course, the maintenance in a tree, of course, you need to prune the tree, but for the rest, there is no maintenance for the subsoil because the roots are growing underneath. There is no maintenance if there is no pavement lifting, of course. And visibility. You know, if the tree is growing, the roots are growing, so it's very easy to see that the tree is doing fine, you don't have to prune, there's nothing to do about it, it will go on. And the tree doesn't need any filters. The tree itself is the filter. We know all about that the tree can take up carbon dioxide and produce oxygen, but also inside the soil, it's cleaning our water system. And this we will compare with the other one. Oh, there are, of course, many other benefits of trees. Shades, we had a nice presentation about the community, how many benefits the community gets, how much the government gets. So I'm not talking about that because that's another story. Changes. We need now changes. And we need to change soon. Because climate change is there. We need to change. And as Henry Ford was always saying, if we do the things we did, we get the things we got. So somebody has to change. Somebody has to step up. And I believe it can be one person in one city that can step up and say, okay, we need obligations. We need laws about tree planting. If we want more shade, we must need more trees. And bigger trees need more soil volume. So please, if there are any politicians here or people who are in the law system, please, please make some laws about every tree needs at least 16 cubic meters of soil. There are some examples where we already do good things. This is, I don't know if it's familiar in Israel, this is just a sewage system in a place where there's no sewage. But how can we filter the wastewater? It's by phytotechnology. Phytotechnology is nothing more than plants, in this case some perennial plants that are just cleaning up the wastewater, phytoremediation. And we do that also in highly contaminated soils. If it's too expensive to clean it with machines, what do? We go back to nature. Trees will do the job for us. Trees can just make heavy contaminated soils clean again. Yes, it takes a while, but they will do the job. Without any cost, without any maintenance, it only takes a long time. So we have to start immediately. Feed remediation, in short, I don't know how much time I have. Okay, we have to hurry up, I think. These are some of the strategies that Tree has. But those strategies, we know it is working. We know we have research on feed remediation and feed technology, but we are not implementing it with the urban trees. Why? Nobody can tell me why. We know it is working, but we do not use it with trees in our cities. These trees can also have the same function as over here. So for that, we have to be open for change and open for research that has already been done in other countries, maybe also in this country, and adapt that to our city trees. In swales, we already do it, but on another reason. In swales, we can have water inside, and we know some dust will come up and just clog the surface area. We know now, if we plant trees with it, this won't be clogged anymore. So this tree is making the soil like a sponge again. But because of this tree has this function of opening the soil again, we also do research on how much pollution it can get out. And these researches we can use for our urban trees, because again, we don't have so much area in old cities to make such a systems like this. And now we are going to compare the pros and cons from the stormwater management and the tree planting systems. And now you'll see something nice. When we do the next, reduce all the cons. Against every con, no regulations. There are regulations on stormwater. Low budgets, very high budgets. High maintenance cost, hardly any maintenance cost. Non-visibility, visible. If the tree is growing, the system is working. Anti-pollution filters, extra cost. We don't need that. We have trees that will do the job. So if we can just combine those pros and leave out the cons, we can have the next step of new systems, and then we can save some money. This is for this, you know, the Stockholm method. Yeah, it's also in Ramat Gan. I was there. This is the city cross, the updated Stockholm method. So the water will be captured. Maybe this picture will say more. Water is captured and just flushing in the big rocks. And because there's lots of carbon inside structural soil, these can pick up the pollution, and only clean water can go out. So we have a Stockholm method that is good for trees, and good for stormwater management, and good for filtering. But it still is structural soil. You need lots of volume, because if it's only 20% of soil inside, in this soil you can only have 30% of water, then you need lots of volume to have lots of water inside. But it's working. The next, the sandwich construction, raft systems. It's an open area underneath the pavement for spreading the loads. But because it's open, we can also let water get in. So this line is connected to the sandwich construction, what is on top of sandy structural soil. So in this case, we can have the system an extra function. And it is also Wageningen University in Holland who says, if we design something new in the cities, we must get rid of the one functional applications. Every new design, every new subject in this design should have at least 3 functionalities. And this has 3 functionalities. First of all, the water inside, this can infiltrate in the soil. The oxygen that can get into for the trees, so the soil has more oxygen. And the pavement will the spread of the loads, so we can have heavier trucks driving closely to the trees. Then we have the sandwich plus system with a second water table. So we can see there is a sandwich construction on top and one below. So water will infiltrate first here, go down, and here it's being captured. So in Holland, we don't have any irrigation systems. And the droughts are getting longer also in Holland. And we have to capture, when we have rain, we have to capture the water. And we can capture it inside a low system underneath. And with capillarity, the water is available for the trees in drier periods. So this tree can survive many droughts. And also there are some systems from the UK, Mona systems, but not as much water as those systems, but there are several systems on the market already. And again, this is, 3 times the function. Not only tree growth, but also water storage, water cleaning. Then we go to a special system. I don't know, in Holland we use lots of insulation for the winter period, for houses. And this is rock wool, just normal basalt that is made to rock wool. But this rock wool is made differently. This rock wool can hold water, so it's 95% of water can go in. And it has, of course, because of the small pores inside, water can also, by capillarity, it is available for the tree. So in this case, you can store 95% of water underneath and still have the water available for the tree. Solution, I'm not quite fond of it. I think the roots will grow directly when it's drier, directly inside, but let's see. We must try. We must be pragmatic. Just try and see what's happening, make it, open it again and see if it's good or not. If it's bad, just get rid of it and try something else. And let's go a few slides back. We talked about feature remediation. We talked about the rain gardens with the tree. But how can we make this a better solution and maybe the best solution for now? This is the natural rain cycle with trees. So we have the tree, rain is falling, we have evaporation, transpiration. The canopy is, of course, also capturing water when it's not falling on the surface area. The water is infiltrating in the soil, filtered by the soil biology, and water can just go out to the groundwater level. But imagine, because we're in the city, there will be a truck, but the truck cannot drive over uncompacted soil. So we need something to have the soil uncompacted and the trucks driving over. So there are the soil cells. If you put the soil cells in, nothing is changed in the water cycle. Water can still infiltrate. There's only one problem. Mostly, the pavement is tight. It's concrete or asphalt, no water can get in. So this is the only thing that we have to add. A catch basin that water can just be captured and just flushes in back. And then the natural water cycle is also available in cities where trucks can drive over the root system. And this is quite easy. Now you have a stormwater management system and trees. We know we need to plant more trees in the cities. We know we need to have more water capturing for the rain events. And with this system, we can do both. We already have the money for the stormwater department. The tree department doesn't have so much money. Now we have to combine. And as long as this tree is growing, this tree will just maintain the soil, take up the pollution, break it down, or capture it in the root system. And this tree is maintaining everything. So this system, two systems combined, we don't have any maintenance cost, only pruning the tree. And then we're saving money by just putting two systems together. That easy. And how does that look like? This is one of the systems installed in Rotterdam. These are the systems, the tree, and in this case there's also storage underneath. But let me see if we can do this also in Israel. There are two systems. The ones who look closely already saw it. The picture before was with stormwater management underneath and the soil cells, and the other one was water directly infiltrating in the subsoil. These systems, in Holland, we use this when the groundwater level is quite near the surface. Because why should you use capturing water if the tree can just get groundwater? So we don't have to capture water. But in Holland, we also have areas where the groundwater level is 17 meters deep. So then we need some extra storage, and then we can use this one. But maybe this one is also good for Israel. You can have lots of water inside. It will be filtered. The extra water was flushing through because the rain events in Israel is mostly in the periods that the trees are not growing that much. So most of the water is just flushing in and going down. And then when the tree needs it, it can just take up the water again. You don't have to irrigate so much. And yes, I get the question, in the wintertime when the tree is not growing, does the phytoremediation still works? Yes. Also, there are investments in America where in the wintertime, when stormwater management, polluted stormwater management is entering the system, even in the wintertime, the system is working. So the tree doesn't have to be growing. The soil biology should be there. Carbon dioxide, like humus, should be there. Then the system is working, also in the periods that the trees are dormant. So now the benefits, we don't have any clogging anymore. The filter is always operational. We don't have to clean the filter. The tree is doing that for us. And it's economical, interesting. No maintenance, multifunctional use, and a better performance every year. Because if the tree is growing, it can capture more water, it can take up more water, it can filter more water. So this system is growing with the climate change. Because the rain events are going to be bigger. And as long as the tree is growing, the system is growing. And this is maybe the best system, I think, for now that we can implement, and saving money. So I hope this will be, some of you will step up, because I really believe one person, again, can do the job in the city, just by standing up, talking about the trees, talking about how to implement other departments together. Now we're talking about stormwater department, green department. We have to talk together and make one solution. Then we can save money. So I hope when I come back the next time, also these systems are being implemented. So thank you very much.